Yeah, I freaking love this game.
Hey, what you doing, Papa?
Oh hey, just playing some Romancing Saga. So right now I'm on my 3rd playthrough as Albert. I'm not
You
really
didn't check your mail?
No, why?
You got a new message from your business partner.
New business partner? What?
Okay, listen closely, Papa. Your new business partner is 50 Blades of Grey.
50 Blades of Grey? What? When? Where? Why? How? What? Mainly just what?
It was at the Christmas party, Papa. They were singing, they was dancing.
Uncle Ramon, stay focused. I need explanation.
Oh, okay. I'll get back on track. So, I gave him 50% of your channel already.
50%? He's not gonna do anything. All he's gonna do is sit back and profit off my channel.
Hey, don't get mad at me, Papa. Listen, he has fewer videos, but more views than us. He's gonna take our channel to new heights. He is our messiah.
Messiah? What the hell is wrong with you?
A couple of things, but that's a different topic entirely, Papa. Listen, he has already a few ideas that are gonna make this channel better. The first thing is you're gonna have a new set of clothes.
No, please don't. Please don't do the snapping thing. Please stop. Wait, this got thumb holes? Alright, I can rock with this.
And here's your first game. Well, it looks like you have some serious trials and tribulations ahead of you, Papa. But it's gonna be okay, because I'm gonna pray for you, okay? Have a good one. God bless you.
Honestly, Dark Souls is a game that needs no introduction. It's an action RPG notorious for its brutal difficulty, which originally came out during a time when hard games were, well, hard to come by. It was highly influential and seen in many modern titles today, such as Neo and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Heck, even From Software hasn't strayed away from it with the release of Bloodborne and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. With the release of the Remastered edition, it's a good reason for me to jump back into it and see if it holds up. We will be looking at this game from 2 angles. Does the base game hold up? And does the remastering justify its release? Well, let's find out as we die 1,000,001 deaths and wonder when the hell we'll ever get good. This is Dark Souls Remastered. Cue the montage. You start the game creating your character, giving it a name, gender, starting class, physique, your face, etc, etc. Honestly, I'm very impressed with how detailed you can be with creating your character's facial features. Pro tip, avoid the ring that does double damage. That's double damage to yourself, not to your enemies.
Hey, before you begin, Papa, make sure that your character is Hispanic. You know it's a bit of a sensitive issue for me, already.
Yeah, I created him and I called him Ramon. Is that good enough for you?
Ramon? Man, that's a really good name. You see, Papa, if you listen to me, you're gonna be going places, already.
After that, you're given an ominous cutscene that is probably giving flashbacks to many of you, either good or bad ones. You then wake up as a red man or woman, depending on your chosen gender, and your adventure begins. I picked a deprived class, so I don't have any armor, but I start off with a wooden club and a plank shield. Hey, don't underestimate the club. This is actually one of the better starting weapons. If you've played this before, everything is basically the same as how you remember it. Messages telling you the controls, the boss you have to plunge attack, and the overall mood of being isolated and not knowing what's up ahead. Once the boss is taken care of, it's off to the Firelink Shrine where the real game begins. Speaking of the tone and atmosphere, I absolutely freaking love it. First playing it, it reminded me of Shadow Tower, how you're all alone with no one by your side. This is further added with the bonfires acting as a safe haven, being able to level up. Neither Dark Souls 2 nor 3 match this, since they all have a hub world populated with NPCs willing to help you. I gotta be honest though, this game looks dated, especially for remastering. I'm not saying they redo everything, but I wish the textures were updated or something. The graphics look like the original PC version with the DX Fix mod added in, and in some cases actually looks worse. Not sure how that was even possible. I would also recommend that if you ever decide to pick up this game, please turn off the motion blur. I forgot to do that and the visuals were even further hampered. I'm just gonna get right into it. The remastering was botched. With all the systems present in Dark Souls and exploits fixed with fan patches, you would think that the developers would be aware of them and address them. Unfortunately, many of the mechanics remain the same for better or for worse, so if you've played and beaten Dark Souls before, those same tricks will work here. One in particular involves poise in PvP bouts. Poise allows you to phase through attacks to continue your attack pattern. Because of how useful it is for PvP bouts, you'll notice so many people wearing Havel's armor and Wolf's ring, giving them immense poise, making it very hard to fight them unless you are highly skilled in backstabbing and parrying. I'm not even that good, and I was able to poise through many invasions.
Now, I'm not saying to change the systems and the mechanics entirely, but a bit of rebalancing would have gone a long way.
And speaking of PvP, the lag is insane. In almost every encounter, there's at least a second delay between when I make contact on a swing and when it registers as a hit. I don't recall having such a noticeable delay with Dark Souls 3.
So basically, there isn't much motivation to play it again to remaster it, pun intended. But with that said, does the base game still hold up?
Thankfully, there are elements that didn't need any changes since they were already awesome. The level design is fantastic. I love how naturally woven it all feels instead of being segmented off like later titles and other Souls-like experiences. There's so many shortcuts and alternate paths to find that it's worth replaying again just to see all the possibilities. And in the world lies a ton of awesome loot to find. There are so many badass weapons and armor to find just from exploring the levels. I often get sidetracked trying to find secret paths and finding out what awesome treasure lies in wait.
Or knowing my luck, it could just be a mimic or a mini boss ready to tear your face off.
There's also a plethora of memorable boss fights. I mean, check this out. You got the Asylum Demon, which if you cut the tail, you can get a unique weapon for it. Obvious nods to Monster Hunter. Ornstein and Smile, the ultimate duo. Fighting these two with a Phantom is pretty epic, but definitely doable by yourself. Just be prepared to die. You got the Great Grey Wolf Sith.
This one is actually sad, as by the end of it, you're basically putting a dog down. I didn't feel good about this one. But what if instead of having Sif the dog, they have Sif from Romancing Saga? Now that would be badass, having a big brolic chick to take down. That would be awesome. There's probably some mod that exists. If not, that has to be made.
The Four Kings is probably my favorite visually as you're fighting in the abyss. It feels so surreal. Really enjoyed this one. And of course, we can't forget about the final boss, Gwyn, the Lord of Cinder. With everything you have accomplished, this fight just feels so damn right. After all the crazy insane monsters you have beaten, it's time for a pure and straight up fight with no gimmicks, just pure skill required to win.
Overall, it feels pretty damn satisfying going through all the main and optional bosses offered, and with knowing more of the backstory, it gives you more of a reason and it feels really satisfying to conquer them.
There is also a good cast of characters you may or may not run into. Some provide benefits like teaching you magic or being able to be summoned for a boss fight, while others are just there to slow you down. At first, I wasn't really caring for the story and lore, thinking it was just window dressing. However, I slowly became more invested in the lore and the characters, specifically Praise the Sun Man, Solaire of Astora. It was so sad seeing how lost he became on his quest without any clear direction, as his jovial attitude devolved into a chaotic and fragmented one.
To me, it's freaking genius because you can be as involved you want with the story without it having affect the gameplay.
Here, we have an emergency, Papa.
Well, here's one thing we have to address. We got subtitles now. Who put them in?
Well, that was an executive decision. But listen, 50 Blaze of Grey just gave me a call and he told me that you're gonna need this.
Okay. Thanks, I guess.
Hey, no problem, Papa. And also, I just created a covenant called the Way of Adobo. If you join me, you get your free bottle of adobo. Look, this one has cumin in it.
I'm gonna say no on this one. Sorry.
Well, that's unfortunate, Papa. But remember, every decision that we make, it has consequences. Comprende?
While the world, the level design, the bosses, and the music hold up very well, the combat, not so much.
Now, I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, but I am prepared. Let me just take a deep breath.
My issue is just how stiff everything feels. After playing games like Nioh, Dark Souls 3, and most recently Bloodborne, the combat feels so freaking slow. It lacks fluidity compared to those other titles. Speaking of fluidity, the platforming, let's just say it's far from it. I also lost count of how many times I got stuck just rolling in between an enemy and not being able to get out of it. This is also another area I wish was addressed in the remastering. However, there are some positives here. The weapon variety is awesome, and upgrading a weapon to its fullest potential is very enjoyable, although a bit grindy at times. The enemy variety outside of boss battles is pretty good, and later on you'll realize that the many options you have on taking out the enemies. I also really enjoyed the spells in this one. While I mainly was a pure melee character, I did like the use of pyromancy and various spells.
Now everybody asks how hard this game is and acts like it's the most brutally difficult game of all time. But honestly, it's far from it. I mean, the whole game I probably died once, twice, 3 times, several times.
Thank you, Dark Souls.
I mean, yeah, it's challenging, but it's not impossible. There's always a better way to solve the situation. Maybe lure the enemy out with a range battle, maybe grind up some souls or some titanite to upgrade your weapons. Maybe you need to kindle a bonfire to get more Estus flasks. Heck, if you're really struggling, you can reverse hollow and use a phantom. Sure, the Steam numbers are not as large as it once was on PC, but there are plenty of fan sites to request help from if you're struggling to find it.
I read a comment on a forum once saying that Dark Souls is basically as hard as you want it to be, and I can agree with that. If you want, you can even beat the game on soul level 1. Not that I would ever do it, I mean, I'm just trying to have a good time, not suffer.
The last element I would like to discuss is the PvP. Like I said before, this needed some rebalancing since poise dominates the metagame. There's also hackers to look out for, so prepare yourself for invasions. It is still enjoyable, but it was done much better in Dark Souls 2.
And that's it. That's the only thing that is done better in Dark Souls 2 than it is done here or any other Souls game. If 50 Blades of Grey makes me review that game, I'm going to have some serious beef.
Overall, I had a great time with Dark Souls, and it's well worth playing through it. The bosses still hold up well, the level and world design is fantastic, especially early on, and completing it felt like a satisfying achievement. However, the remastering was clearly botched and it needed more development time. Many issues from before were not addressed, and nothing really is there enticing veterans to come back to it. Plus, I prefer the faster paced combat of other Souls games. However, while I don't plan on doing a New Game Plus run anytime soon, I would definitely consider it for the future.
Personally, I would recommend Bloodborne for the PS4 or Dark Souls 3 for a better introduction to the series. However, whichever one you pick, it's ultimately your choice. Just remember, you'll have to die in order to live again. Thank you guys for watching. This is Pow3rh0use signing off. Well, I guess I better equip myself.
Yo, who put in this PS1 looking loading screen? Get it out of here.
Wonder who the boss is.
It's me, Papa.
All right.
Thank you, Papa, and God bless you.
In the end, we must all face our demons alone.